Good evening. Welcome to Victoria University's Graduate Online Information Series. Tonight we will discuss the benefits of starting a graduate program in sport, business and integrity. My name is Fabio Serpiello. I'm the postgraduate convener in the College of Sport and Exercise Science. And with me live tonight from the TV studio is Hans Westerbeek. Hans is a professor of international sports business and head of the Sport Business Insight Groups. Welcome, Hans.
Thanks, Fabio.
So I might start with a quick question, Hans. Sport, business and integrity. Why is it so important right now for businesses and sporting organizations?
Well, we've specifically designed the course with the addition of the word and content for integrity because sport as an industry is highly visible. It's in the public eye all the time. There's massive amounts of resources and money that are at play, and therefore sport has an enormous capacity not only to entertain and to excite people, but also a lot of opportunity for people to manipulate results, to do the wrong thing from the perspective of maximizing business opportunities. And so the integrity of sport, to keep sport as pure as it should be and keep the outcomes of contests unpredictable, conduct fair play and operate a proper business has never been more important in sport in particular as it is now.
And do you think it's even more important right now that we are in a period of, if you want to say, crisis?
Well, people say never waste a good crisis. So from our perspective, I think we're very happy as Victoria University that we are able to offer a course such as this, because in a time of complete disruption, you do need to upskill yourself and to contribute to the industry with solutions. A generic business course is for us is not a solution. You need to add that value to it that makes you special and gives you an edge. And we feel ethical business behavior, integrity of sport, coming up with new business models is very much needed at the moment when sport is in crisis. But at the same time, there's also opportunities to renew what we know.
And you mentioned gaining an edge. How will the sport professionals of the short-term future, how will they innovate to be competitive in post-COVID era?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I think we can see now how sport is struggling both at the community level and at the professional level. Throughout the sporting world, sport has suddenly been confronted with the fact that if people cannot attend a game in a stadium or play against each other in local competitions, that suddenly the whole sports delivery system is maxed out. There's no opportunity to do anything at that point in time, and sports resources, sports incoming finances are largely dependent on either media rights to broadcast sport or membership based for communities. And suddenly sport has realized that they are far too dependent on that single source or multiple sources of revenue. So there's never been a better time, enforced by a good crisis in this case, to start thinking about how sport needs to revisit its business models. And that's exactly what our course is about. Our course is about creatively thinking about the business of sport, making sure that you conduct business in a proper, ethical, and straightforward way, but then at the same time add your innovative spin to it of how you can actually generate resources and revenues from multiple angles and multiple opportunities to make your sport thrive and go from strength to strength.
That's very interesting, and I'm sure you could speak about this for hours. So let's zoom on you for a second. What's your experience in this field, and why do you love teaching in sport, business and integrity?
Yeah, well, I think like all of us who work or teach in sport at the heart of it is our passion. You go into sport because you love sport, and so when I was 12 or 13, I wanted to be a phys ed teacher. So my first degree is in phys ed. To be out there, play sport, teach others to work in sport. And Since then, I've had an ongoing educational pathway, if you like, from a master in human movement sciences to around my 30s, realizing that I was actually more interested in how to run the business of sport and how to, to conduct sport management, sport marketing. So I did an MBA, and my doctorate is in international marketing. I've had probably 3 different career paths in that sense. I started off as a marketing manager in a sports organization itself, then moved to commercial education as a marketing manager, became an academic in sports management, then had a stint of 5 years in sports consulting, where my passion for international sport business really elevated to the next level. I consulted in the US, Malaysia, New Zealand, United Arab Emirates, Italy, Holland, Portugal, Belgium, and a few other countries. And then I came back to academia, where the real passion now is to help the next generation, but also those in the sport industry to upskill their position and their ability to take their career to the next level.
Since you mentioned, your passion now to help others, let's have a look at, what's the structure or what's the container of, this aim. Can you give us an overview of how the course, the Masters and the Graduate Certificate are organized?
Yeah, well, the Masters is delivered over 3 semesters, 12 credit units, so basically 12 different components to build your degree, with a number of foundational units that all students do, and a number of different elective options that students can do if they want to take a particular direction. And we've more recently created a range of what we call entry points, but they are also exit points. A graduate certificate is 4 units. They have a particular specialization that if you're an industry professional and want to upgrade your skills in strategy, we have a grad cert in sports strategy. If you want to upgrade your skills in sports marketing, we have a graduate certificate in sports marketing. If you are a community development manager, we have a grad cert in sport community development, and a few other options. We also have a grad dip in sport business and integrity, which is 8 units. And then of course we have, the 12-unit masters. So it's maximum flexibility in terms of entering the course, get a taste for it, see if this specialization wettens your appetite to go on to do a dip or the whole masters. And more often than not, we see that if people do the graduate certificate, they come back for more, because there's quite a good range of options to further upskill yourself.
Flexibility sounds like one of the keys of this program. What other features do you think make our programs stand out?
Well, first and foremost, I think we have a range of staff, plus guest speakers who connect directly to industry, are from industry, work in the industry on a daily basis, and staff who have not only taught but also have been in industry and are in industry. They are either on boards, on advisory panels. They are practicing coaches or practicing board members, and have a past of working in sport. The other bit in terms of flexibility is that we very much deliver in an online, offline kind of mode. So there's an opportunity to consume a lot of content at your own pace via our online platform, but at the same time also frequently engage with the lecturing staff, either in a face-to-face capacity, and certainly during the past few months we've perfected our ability to organize Zoom, WebEx, or Microsoft Teams, or whatever platforms our potential students have been accustomed to. We do that really well, I believe. And then thirdly, we may talk about that a little bit later as well, but we also offer amazing opportunities to directly engage with industry.
Sounds like that's the next questions. Engaging with industry, VU is recognized in Australia for engaging with partners. So do partnerships play an important role in the program?
Oh, absolutely. If nothing else, all of our staff are active researchers, and so they, in a variety of ways with different organizations, engage with their industry partners. Myself, in a number of projects, Sport and Recreation Victoria, Vic Health, the AFL, Cricket Australia are organizations that I've personally worked with. We have a very strong partnership with the Sport Australia Hall of Fame, who basically represent the crème de la crème of Australian sport royalty, and therefore offer an amazing opportunity to connect to industry through those who've been performing at the peak of this nation's sporting prowess. And last but not least, we've created this wonderful partnership with the Real Madrid Graduate School in Madrid, which is a partnership between a local university and the club, Real Madrid Football Club, where we take our students every year on a study trip, and where they basically engage with people from the club, behind the scenes at the stadium, behind the scenes at Real Madrid City, where all of their high performance teams play, and then also a range of other sport-related visits from stadia to innovation centers, Microsoft Innovation Center, to you name it, real exposure to some sports that may not be so familiar for our students here in Australia, and get a really good taste of Europe.
It sounds like an exciting partnerships, and I'm sure the students or prospective students who are listening will be very interested in knowing more. You mentioned the word opportunity. So this is a great opportunity for the students to be exposed to something new or different. What other opportunities are the students exposed to in terms of their future career?
Well, I personally feel that any type of study that you do, so this is not limited, I guess, to our course, but I will tell you what this course does better than any other course. But any type of graduate study is an opportunity to get your foot in the door. And I strongly believe that if you only come to uni to study, then you're missing half of the opportunity that postgrad study actually offers you. Because you're in a room and in a class and in a collective of people who all have more experience than when you come out of an undergrad degree. In most recent years, we've had senior managers from Cricket Australia, the Australian Football League, Vic Sport, Netball Australia, all in the classroom together learning about sport business and integrity. So if you don't take the opportunity to hardcore network with the people that are in your course, learn about their insights from a different perspective of the industry, be it a hardcore female sport like netball to the good old Australian sport of cricket, racing Victoria, horse racing. That's really the opportunity to connect to industry in a way that you can only do if you are on a one-on-one basis with people who actually are working in the industry.
Absolutely. And do you think this translates in how the course and how our graduates are seen by the industry when they enter the industry?
Well, we measure that by their success rate in terms of being employed. And I can say that within a very short period of time, people either move on in their career and elevate themselves to the next level, given the fact that they finished a degree such as this one, or they get their first or second job in the industry. And I've mentioned a few organizations already where people are being placed. We also have an increasing cohort of international students who are in industry, so not necessarily those who come straight out of their undergrad degrees, who basically come to us do their degree and go back to their country to deliver their newfound knowledge in their sponsoring organizations. And I'm talking Germany, China, Malaysia, India, Saudi Arabia. So, you know, in a degree in which you want to learn about sport business and integrity, and you can also pick and choose to learn about overseas related experiences. I think that that's another added value.
Absolutely, and I think, having been an international student myself in the past, that those students also come here to grow their network. How does the course enable them to do that?
Well, if nothing else, we beyond the course, we on a frequent basis organize functions at the university where students can meet and engage with industry. We do that both in the undergrad and postgrad programs. We very actively provide students with the opportunity to do the networking amongst themselves. We are now talking about sport business and integrity, but for example in Spain, you very well know that we are there with you know 2 master's degrees, and students mix and mingle and learn about their particular course and their particular foci, and more often than not, those connections start bringing up new opportunities for those students who actively work them. You know, these students come here, they get a great experience, they get great opportunities, then they represent the university out there. Why work in this field? Why prospective students, why do you think they should enroll in our course and then work in the field? Well, I started with this about myself and about you. Why do you want to work in an industry? First and foremost, because you're passionate about it. You know, I hate those sad stories of parents who push their kids into, you know, the medicine or law because they are professions that make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with studying medicine or law, don't get me wrong, but do it because you want to do it, not because, you know, there's a big bag of money at the end of the line. Work in sport because you're passionate about the industry. Because when you're passionate, you know where the critical touch points are, and if you know where the critical touch points are, you as a professional can add value, because that makes you creative, that makes you passionate about making things better. And that's what, you know, a course in business, and sport business in particular, is all about making organizations run better, make them more innovative, more resilient, more flexible, make them thrive.
You mentioned passion. You are a very passionate academic.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of how does that transpire in one of the units that you teach? Can you give us an example of a unit in the program?
I'll give you 2. My pet unit, the one that I really love teaching, is also the field in which I write my academic papers and I write my books, and the unit's called Global Sport Business. And Global Sport Business is all about looking at sport and its delivery systems and its organizational structures in a comparative perspective between, you know, different countries, between different cultures, between different continents, between different sports. And again, if we go back to the opportunity to go to Madrid, for example, one of the things that most students say after being 2 weeks exposed to something that they haven't seen before at home, some of our students first time overseas, but certainly one of the first times being engaged in sport organizations that are not your traditional AFLs or Cricket Australias, it opens your perspective, it opens your eyes to see, oh, okay, so that's why they like that sport that I don't like. That's why they're so passionate about table tennis or about, you know, volleyball or European handball, or that's why that sport works and that's why that sport doesn't work. Why does it work in country A? Why doesn't it work in country B? So it goes way beyond your traditional, these are the 4 Ps of the marketing mix, or management is about planning, leading, organizing, controlling. It is contextualized by a unit such as Global Sport Business. And I'll leave it there.
What is the other one?
The other one is strategic planning and management of sport business. In a way, an extension of taking a snapshot of a global marketplace and then asking yourself, okay, where do I sit as an organization in that global marketplace? Where are the opportunities? Where can I go? Where are the threats? What resources do I need? What people do I need to employ or to educate in order to make my organization lift to the next level? And strategy is all about that. Strategy is about determining where you are right now, carefully looking where the opportunities are, put a dot on the horizon, say that's where I want to go, and then, carve out your path towards that dot on the horizon. And strategy is, if you get strategy, suddenly to become a manager and leader in an organization becomes a hell of a lot easier.
Sounds interesting. And my strategy now is asking one more questions about the course, and then I think we can open it up to some audience questions. So one more question. You've explained to us about the structure of the course, an example of a unit. Also, how does VU support the students in general in their work-life balance when starting a graduate program?
Well, I think it's fair to say that the university very much and carefully considers the demands of people being in a job, or students who move from undergrad to postgrad but having to work in odd hours and sometimes work big hours. So what we've done to first and foremost structure this in a most flexible way is find that balance between face-to-face and online, and make sure that online content can be consumed at the point in time most flexible and convenient to the students. So you're not completely stuck to timetables and the need to drive in at all times. Having said that, there are times when you have to drive in, and when we have face-to-face options that are in time and place, because there's a great benefit in having face-to-face contact. Beyond that, the university has a wide range of opportunities to become engaged in student life. Probably more applicable to undergrads, but also the opportunities there for postgrads, especially when you're a little bit more flexible in terms of your engagement. And then beyond that, there's a whole range of opportunities if you want to pursue further studies, doctoral studies or masters. There's a limited opportunity to get scholarships, to be supported by the university in fee help, etc. So yeah, I'd say come and connect and have a bit of a look. But there's a lot of our staff can help students to find their way.
Absolutely, and there's also a fantastic postgraduate student association, which is especially useful for international students to find the initial network.
Yep.
Let's go to a question from the audience.
Yep.
We have the first one here. Would it be worthwhile starting now, or maybe waiting until the industry bounces back?
Look, first of all, I'm a perennial optimist, and I think there's a good reason for it. I wrote a few pieces, opinion pieces in the last couple of weeks, and one of the things that I stated was demand for sport will never be higher, because for the simple reason that people suddenly realize what it means to be stuck at home, not being able to go out, do your competition, work out in the park, have your run, this and that. The other important reason is that the federal government, at the height of lockdown, said there's only 4 things for which you can leave the house. And one of those things was go out and exercise. Because if nothing else, the government's made a statement about how important physical movement and physical activity is for our physical, mental and social health, for people to connect. So, shorter answer to your question, I think the opportunities for sport during and after this will multiply. Sure, there will be, hard times and hardship, but for those people who think quickly on their feet, are creative, and combine that passion with newfound insights through upskilling yourself, There will be opportunities that nobody will see at this point in time, and you just have to make sure that you're front of the line when capitalizing on those opportunities. And to me, there's no better way of doing it than upskilling yourself, educating yourself, exposing yourself to the insights from people in the industry and classmates.
That's a good answer to a very important and topical question. We have another one here. Will complete the grad cert be enough to get my foot in the door? For example, this student has a bachelor's degree and some experience in marketing already, but they want to enter the sport industry. So is the grad cert the best option, or maybe straight to a master's degree?
I'd say enroll in the grad cert and see what you think. If you like it, then pending your availability, time, resources, you can upgrade to the masters, or in our case, grad dip. I'll be honest, if I'm an employer and you have a grad cert and someone of equal interview quality has a master's, I'll go for the masters. Yeah. So, the piece of paper in the end is important, but just have a taste and see what you think. The grad cert was designed for that reason, that you actually get a piece of paper. You get a specialization in 4 units, so both your skills and marketability will be upgraded, and then come back for the masters.
And that's the great flexibility of having grad certs, grad dips, and a masters.
Yep.
I know that there will be one about a study tour. Does everyone get to go on the study tour?
Yep, it's actually a compulsory part of the course. You have to come. Now, in the end, if there's very good reasons for you not to be able to come, that will be considered. But so far, we have had nobody saying, "I'm not coming." Financially, we've allocated this as part of our course structure, so it's not that you're going to be hit with a massive bill on top of your course fee. So it is very much part of the course. And listen to our past students. The study trip is one of the highlights that, again, like I said, elevated their level of understanding of sport to the next level.
One last one. Has anyone been successfully employed through our partners?
Yep, we've had people employed at Melbourne Victory, Cricket Australia, a number of overseas placements in Canada. One of our students, and I'm sorry, but I forgot the actual organisation, but it was in rugby union. One of our students was placed there. Having said that, that particular organisation is not a partner, and we've also had students start work with Sport Australia.
I think that's a wrap up for the audience question, and I think we can wrap up this question. Thank you very much, Hans, for your insights. I think that the students will have greatly appreciate that.
Welcome.
Thank you for being a part of this VU Graduate Online Information Series. For more information, you can jump online on our website and you can chat to our experts, or you can book in a consultation over the phone with one of the course chairs. You will receive a link shortly to do this. Coming up next is our Masters of Clinical Exercise Science and Rehabilitation. Thank you very much, and we hope you found this very important and very informative for you.